6:30, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a video I made. And it turned out totally different than what I planned. The movie, the rock and roll songs that I picked with the lyrics, the theology, and it's just a fascinating film. And I've loved it since I was in high school because I said, this is the God that they preach at these other churches. It's Gort. I haven't slept. This video took over my life. You'll see why in a minute. It is a rocking out video. So have fun. Y'all ready? This is the Klaatu Project coming at you.
Wow.
Hello, everybody. Talk to me. Talk to me. What'd you? I'm afraid to ask.
What I saw was quite real.
Quite real.
Quite real.
I see Ron is down there.
I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
I know.
I wouldn't even begin to guess.
Sheen, I was watching your facial expressions. I don't know if you identified it most with the songs or with certain scenes of the movie itself. But I was fascinated by your facial expressions.
I was almost afraid to ask, what were you smoking all night long as you produced this?
Good question.
It wasn't a Cuban.
It would have had to been, huh?
I don't have to take drugs to be imaginative. I never have.
No. I'll vouch for that.
After seeing something like this, I really want to just get into his brains and see, what's going on in his brain. I always wanted to, and right now, I really, really want to.
I don't think you can see all that's there and the implications and the words with just one watch. It would almost take more than one watch to catch it all. But
yeah,
there's awesome stuff in there.
Yeah, you want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, I think I need to watch it another time because it was so much. All the metaphors and similes that were in there. I mean, it was just, down to repeating the magic words, Klaatu,
birada,
nikto. I mean, that's, repeating the sinner's prayers, what I associated with.
Yeah, it's like that movie. I don't know of a movie that does a better job of symbolizing the Trinity as preached in the evangelical bubble, where God's a punisher and cold and merciless and a stickler for law, a policeman, and not only is he the policeman, but he didn't even talk about a legal system. So they've got a policeman who is also the judge, the juror, and the executioner. If you show aggression and they catch you, they just kill you. And they don't just kill you, they kill your whole planet. Okay. So this is like, what if you were arrested for robbing a bank and they executed you and your entire family? That's what it's like to destroy a planet. And this Jesus character tries to come off as intellectual, smart, and advanced, but he hadn't got enough sense not to walk toward people with guns, reach into his shirt, pull out something that looks very much cylindrical like a gun, aim it at them, and expect them to do nothing. To me, it's the perfect film to talk about the modern evangelical Trinity. And by the way, we read all the time about in the scripture. It's one of my favorite quotes is when Jesus told the disciples on the night that he was arrested, he said, Thomas, what do you mean show you the Father? When you've seen me, you've seen God the Father. So what about, can you say the same thing for Klaatu and Gort? When you've seen Klaatu, you've seen Gort? Well, no, they're completely different. And poor Klaatu, he can't even control Gort. I mean, he's terrified of him. Everybody's terrified of him. I love the irony of he's got the whole world in his hand, and I'm thinking, I hope not. And did you notice how she just resigned herself as, first she struggled and started to cry, and then she said,
"Let me just relax.
He's got me now.
He's got me.
I surrender all." So yeah, there's so many things, and it's decisional. This is a decisional religion. You, by what you say with the magic word and by what you decide, you can prevent God from killing you.
Yeah, but the word that stood out to me was obliterated. You'll be obliterated.
Yeah. And that is a little different because, I mean, the evangelical gospel is not that you'll be obliterated, but that you'll be burned alive forever, and no one will care.
Well, you're right. Obliterated would mean you.
Obliterated means you're not there anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That's annihilation. But
Burn to cinder.
Yeah. I start
Burned out
thinking
cinder.
about the series we did on hell and all the words, hell, with that particular piece and that scene.
By the way, you need to know something. That quote about the no one can, has the power of life and death except the Almighty Spirit. You can't believe this. I found it in my research. That line, that one line, is the only line that the movie, what do you call it? The Motion Picture Association of America censor, and they have his name in the review, in the research that I did. He made them change a line in the movie, in the script, to that line. The original line was, these things are possible even for you in the future with science, which would have been the right thing to say, other than no one has the power of life and death, only the Almighty Spirit, because there's no mention of any spirituality in this movie up until then. But remember, it's 1951. There's a grateful country. They're very religious. You got people coming back from the war and starting families. It was fairly traditional environment, especially in white culture. And so the real line would be, yes, it is possible. Yes, he does have the power of life and death. In some cases, we can bring somebody back for a time, but we don't know how long. That was his original explanation, but the censor made him put God in there because he was afraid he was going to alienate people into thinking that, well, there's no need for God if science can fix everything. That line wasn't in the original script. So that tells you something. When the censors put God back in a film, it ain't 2022. Today, they would just take God out. Interesting when the censors put God back in a film, where God isn't there. I mean, at least in terms of, but here's the other thing that's interesting. Even though they didn't mention God in the original script, the screenwriter, the producer, the director, they all said, the Christian symbolism was there intentionally from the beginning, but we thought it was subliminal. We thought it was sort of an undercurrent. We didn't think anybody would catch it. Well, maybe a couple of theologians somewhere, but everybody caught it. And guess what? Everybody thought it was just cool with it. And Klaatu is at best dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, it had a lot of theological themes. I mean, even the little boy, I thought about him being a prophet, preacher, with the message, people not believing you. He was trying to tell them, yeah,
but he was just used by the Jesus character. He used him for information. It was a clandestine mission. He seems affable and smart, but he does dumb things. And then he says, I don't want to have to threaten you. I don't want to have to threaten you, but that was what the message was. We're threatening you, and that's exactly what the evangelical message is. We don't want to have to threaten you. But we're threatening you with hell, and with a God who's already determined to burn you forever. Crazy. But that film, to me, I mean, when I saw that film, I was like, boy, howdy, I bet the modern evangelicals love this film. God's zapping people and they deserve it. And Jesus is smarter than everybody else and telling them to knuckle under or else.
I haven't watched the film. I would like to see it.
Well, consider yourself as kind of gotten the idea of it, because I really pulled the parts of it out that give you the core of the film. Now, when you watch it, there are more details here and there, and it's also an hour and a half long. And this was just less than 25 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Is anything that I'm saying resonating with anyone, or is someone disagreeing out there in live stream land or Zoom land? What are you thinking about it? I saw you laughing, Dale. You were liking some of that music.
Yes, I like the music. I was just thinking about what you're mentioning about the theme of you're going to get punished unless you live a certain way, and it's okay if you die if you're not living a certain way. You know, God's justified, or the character in the movie is justified in doing that. And just when I was thinking about when the war in Ukraine started, Pat Robinson came out of retirement and said, "Thank you, Putin, for ushering in the beginning of the end time with this war." And that's exactly what I see the theme of what you're referring to in this movie, is that in the evangelical culture, it's okay to be so destructive and killing, because it provides the means for which God accomplishes God's task. It doesn't matter who gets in the way for God to do that.
Yeah. Well, when God is entirely and completely and utterly a legal punishing judge, okay, you know, the cop, the arresting policeman, the prosecuting attorney, the judge, and the executioner, when God is those things, you realize that just leaves mercy completely out of the picture. So here you have the Jesus character, Klaatu, who's kind of doing Gort's bidding in a way, but it's all upside down because they gave all the power in their culture to these monsters, you know. And I'm thinking, well, you know, he said, as long as you don't act irresponsibly, you're free to do anything you want to. I'm like, who's not going to be able to stop? Who's going to be able to stop themselves from acting irresponsibly, making mistakes, doing dumb stuff? That's how we learn. And so if somebody acts irresponsibly, some moron in some country somewhere decides to roll some tanks into somewhere, okay, so that's justification for one of these monsters in a spaceship to obliterate the entire planet, all those people dying. How does that give these advanced, sophisticated people from another planet the moral high ground if they're willing to kill a whole planet for the mistakes of a few? It doesn't make sense. There's no individual responsibility. Okay, if you do something wrong, there's no way in there to either punish you or reform you. Your planet dies.
Yeah, no grace at all.
Yeah. So what? There's children on there. You messed up. It's crazy.
This movie influenced at least 2 Star Trek Next Generation episodes that I can think of, and I can't remember the name of one of them. But it's when a planet had waged war and had developed a whole species that were designed, you know, a human-related species. They were designed to wage war. When they finally achieved peace, they locked them all up in a prison colony because they didn't know what to do with them. Then there was another episode, I remember that one, it's called Justice, in which there was one punishment for every crime. Death penalty.
Yeah.
And one of the Star Trek people stepped on the grass and killed a flower.
Well,
Yeah.
that's that.
That's that. So it didn't matter if you murdered someone or if you killed a flower, you were going to die.
Yeah,
And
there's no proportionality here.
Oh.
There's no room for mistakes. There's no grades of severity of crime.
Neither is there in the bubble.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's you either turn or you burn. Get right or get left. Yeah, I mean, it's decisional, and the decision is based on what you say. You got to have the password.
Yeah.
Which version of the sinner's prayer is the equivalent?
The one that's in the Bible. It's in First Condominiums.
Yeah, First Condemnations. What?
Condominiums.
I thought it was Condemnations.
Yeah. So who haven't we heard from? What about you, KC? What's going on, Kia? You out there?
I'm here. I really enjoyed the music.
I'm so glad. I did too. Did you recognize any or most of the songs?
I did.
Me too. One of
A
them.
reflection of age.
I don't know. The one by Audio Slave is one of my favorites. That was "Show Me How to Live." The words in that song are you put the nail prints in my hand, and show me how to live, you know, a crucified person being risen. You know, that's what the song is about. And I love that song. I think it came out sometime in the 2000s. And the guy who sang it in the original song, not the guy who sang this one, but the original singer has since passed. He committed suicide after a concert one night. Yeah. God rest his soul. Chris Cornell.
Didn't know the songs.
You didn't know any of them?
No, other than the opening song that they used for
Jesus
movies.
Christ
Jesus
Superstar.
Christ Superstar. Yeah. Other than that, I didn't know them.
And he's got the whole world in his hands.
Yes, that's right. Those two.
What do you think, Kia? Anything else?
No, that was it. And I like the excerpts of the newer version movies.
Yeah. They had 2.5 Men, and The Evil Dead, I think, was the one that had he mispronounced the last word and was trying to. He had to say the password to open some great book, and he kept getting it wrong. And
Good Man, something, the one with You Can't Handle the Truth.
oh yeah. Jack Nicholson, A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And Chris Tucker, and who was the guy with him?
Ice Cube in Friday.
Ice Cube. Yeah, they said a bad word, but it was just too. I mean, when he said, "I get tired of your stupidity," hey! I just thought it was too good. Yeah, this was a grumpy Jesus. I mean, he said things like, "This is not a personal matter." Of course, Jesus was never personal. Your problems are not my problems. I have no interest in getting involved in your lives. You're testing my patience. You're making me resort to threats, but actually I came to threaten you anyway.
Couldn't be so wrong.
Strange film, because I think it's like this guy charms you to the point where if you weren't really thinking about it, you'd think, well, he has superior intelligence, he has superior technology, maybe he's right. But I'll tell you what, give me liberty or give me death, I'm not going to be I'd rather die than be tyrannized by robot police who are indiscriminate in killing people and destroying worlds. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's not moral.
What do you think the goal of the whole movie was? What do you think they were trying to?
I don't know.
What message were they trying?
Anybody got an idea about what the message? I know the Christian symbolism in their thinking was intentional, because the ship is the Holy Spirit. You know, it flies around and it's in the air, in the sky, the wind, you know, and all that, and also it's sort of substituted for the empty tomb at one point, you know, and raising the Jesus character from the dead. And but how about the Mary Magdalene character? She seemed to be kind of a Mary Magdalene anyway. At least she wasn't a prostitute in the film, which most Christians think she is, and she wasn't, so far as we know. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? What's the message of the film? It was 1951. I mean, is this anti-communist propaganda, or is this pro-communist propaganda? I began to think it was kind of pro. You give all that power to the state and everything will be all right. You turn in your weapons, because they didn't have any weapons. They didn't have any war. They didn't have any, they talked about how, you know, it's like this utopia, but look what's standing on every corner. And by the way, that piece of paper he had that had Carpenter on it, Major Carpenter.
Yeah.
By the way, Jesus is a carpenter. I guess you got that. Yeah. When he found that thing from the dry cleaners, he read it and then he smiled and then he wadded it up and threw it on the ground. Jesus litters. It ain't right.
Kill him.
What?
Kill him.
Yeah, kill him for littering. Yeah. Or just drop a bomb on his whole planet. You know, let the laser-eyed guy go crazy.
Yeah.
They have a whole army of those things on all those planets, and he's claiming that they're both free and happy. And I'm thinking, wow.
I'm still thinking about, and I don't know what the meaning of it was, but I guess, I mean, if it was to portray the scriptures in film in terms of scenes or parts of it, they got so many things wrong. I mean, it's just so.
Here's the irony in this film: is the only person who, in the end, was opposing him were our police and army and the Judas guy. The Judas guy was completely against the spaceman, I think, because she sort of had a thing for him, and his girlfriend, his gal did, fiance, whatever she was. And yet, I'm thinking back on it, I'm thinking, it may have been for the wrong reasons, but he was right. That guy's dangerous. We're in trouble. I mean, all these powerful planets out there, and they're all anchored like this. They can destroy us in a second unless we knuckle under. I mean, that's tyranny. That's actually a coup. That's a takeover. Your planet's not yours anymore. It's ours, and we've got the robots to handle it.
Well, remind me of Putin right now. What's going on?
Yeah, this was sort of a quiet. This was a quiet invasion, but the one in Ukraine's not quiet.
So do we listen to the politicians, the military, or the scientists?
Yeah, I mean,
That question's still with us.
the scientist just was had no spine. He was trying to help him. It's like, I have some suggestions on how you can take over our world without a fight.
Collaborator.
Yeah, can we help you, Hitler? And
In our lifetime.
Yeah, who do you listen to? I mean, we've had this discussion this morning, Gene, on the COVID thing, but because it's so complicated. But on the Ukraine thing, I mean, I guess depending on what news channel or news source you're reading, you probably are getting different angles on that. But I don't think anybody thinks that this is good. This is that most of the world sees this as an invasion, no matter what Putin says, to try to paint it as something else.
One of my chaplain's wife is storing up. I mean, food. She's buying guns because she feels that this
Here in
war,
America?
yes,
Okay.
right around the corner, thinking the war is going to impact us to that degree in America. And I'm like, what? And yeah, they're buying food and bales of rice and flour and stocking up.
Yeah, well, and that speaks to Klaatu's planet, and the other planets made themselves dependent on an external force or power. And so think about what we do with electricity. We're so dependent upon electricity, and it's an external force and power.
Yeah.
And if we all of a sudden, if the electricity went off all over the planet and we couldn't get it back, have you got enough? How long would you make it? I mean, nobody's prepared for that kind of scenario.
No. Like you talked about in the film about the light going out. His light went out. He needed to borrow the.
He lied.
The search.
He
I know.
lied.
I know.
He lied, and to a kid,
Messiah lied.
This one did.
Yeah.
You say that movie was done in 1951?
Yes, ma'am. And there was a remake with Keanu Reeves playing.
Mid 2000s.
Yeah, 2008 was the remake with Keanu Reeves.
It was on Saturday. I watched it, at least a part of it. Was it Saturday or Sunday?
Whenever it was.
Never,
It was
never
on
saw the remake.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it pales in comparison, but the other thing about it is it takes out all of these elements that make this film so good for discussing modern evangelical theology about Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the theology of the Trinity. What a corruption, what a bizarre corruption. And the funny thing is that even people in Hollywood apparently think they know what we believe. They think they know what's in the Bible and they can make a movie of it, but they're just really aware of all the errors out there. And they think, well, we'll just go with that and just run with the ball. And they do. It's nice when you see something like The Chosen, where at least they're making an effort, to be faithful to the scriptures as much as possible. I mean, I'm not a super big fan and proponent of the Chosen, but even with its weaknesses, it's better than most I've seen. At least it's compelling and honest, and it tries. Yeah, glad to have y'all tonight. Anything else? I didn't hear from Ron at all. I see him there, but he can't find the mute button.
He's going to be Gort for Halloween.
There he is.
Yeah, I want him to be Gort for Halloween. There he is.
Hey, Ron, what are you thinking?
Klaatu, birada, nikto. Or nikto. I don't remember. Necktie. What are you chewing on something? You got pancakes?
I'm like that movie. The guy pokes his head out the window and says, "I'm madder than hell. I ain't gonna take it no more."
That's from Network. Didn't that win the Academy Award back in the 70s? I remember that film. Oh man, why are you mad? Why are you madder in hell and you're not gonna take it? Why aren't you gonna take it anymore, bro? Look at him.
You
Look at
want
him.
Bert? You say you have your meeting at supper time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you're having your supper at meeting time.
Well, now that could be true. But I'm at the low end of the totem pole when it comes to making decisions about Bert. I do send him bird pictures though.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Ron, it's wonderful to see you, man. You send good stuff. Anything else with you, Dale?
I guess I'm just saying that if I do everything right, I'm okay.
That's about it.
If I don't do it all right, then I shall be burned forever
Exactly.
There you go.
by the God that loves me so much.
You could tell how loving Gort was in this film.
Yeah.
He was
And you
warm.
can tell how the people just fell in line. You know, the minions just said, you know, here's a decree. We'll do this because we want to survive.
He was adored everywhere he went.
14-9. Summon and Supreme. Okay.
There it is.
Nano.
That's not no. That's the Vulcan something, Gene.
Oh, that's a
said.
Vulcan. Oh,
Live long and prosper.
I can't do that no more.
But apparently it goes back farther than that, Gene, right? Isn't there a connection
go.
to Leonard Nimoy to Judaism?
Yeah, he was raised Jewish, and that's one of the blessings at the altar that the rabbi would do.
The rabbi or the priest or whatever would do this in the Old Testament.
Cool story.
Yeah, there's a cool story from Leonard Nimoy if you want to look it up. Well, live long and prosper, everyone. Go boldly where no man or woman has gone before, and look out for Gort. He's bad to zap you with those eyes.
Well, and
He's got Betty Davis eyes.
Luke, I am your father.
That's right.
Your lack of faith.
All right, everybody, it's after time. Love every single one of you. Go back and watch it again if you want to. Enjoy, and I'll see if I can upload it. Wish me luck.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great evening.
Okay. You
Love
too.
everybody. Thank you for watching on
Bye,
Facebook.
guys.
Thank you for watching here on Zoom. See everybody.
Bye-bye.
No.
No.
Bye-bye.
Bye.